I was wondering how, or if it's appropriate, or if I even can, ask my partner to start changing some of his hobbies and focusing a little bit more on family time as our life changes a little bit.
Tell me about it.
So I got engaged a little bit earlier this year. We're getting married at the end of this year. Both of us are super, super excited to have kids and kind of start that phase of our life now.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of different hobbies, though, and I'm a little bit worried that some of those might get in the way of raising our family.
Tell me about them. I mean, is it video games? Is it like what are the hobbies?
No.
You play chess?
I think my concern, they're a little bit dangerous. He races sport bikes, races motocross,
okay.
four-wheelers, all sorts of stuff like that. And he was involved in a pretty serious, significant crash and accident related to those.
Yeah.
So that happened recently. He's going to heal fine and everything like that. But if that was something that happened, a few years down the line with 2 kids at home, it would have been a totally different story. So I don't know if it's appropriate to ask him to start giving some of that up, because I totally, I want him to enjoy his life. I don't want to ask him to give up the things that he loves doing either.
Yeah, entering into your marriage, I don't ever want you to be hedging or wondering, am I allowed to say this thing?
Yeah.
Or do I need to keep a concern I have about the man I love, about our future family? Do I need to keep that silent so that he can fill in the blank? Yeah. That to me is the root challenge here, okay? Just plain speak, my wife has asked me over the years to think. She's never said, no, you cannot do that, right? But she has asked me to think through a decision I was about to make about something I was going to do, whether it was wise or not wise. Almost always it's not wise, right? And at the same time, I want you to be honest about who you're marrying.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
So I am not a motorcycle guy. I never have been. The motorcycle guys I know that like have cuts and ride with a group, and one of my closest friends, his name's Pete. He is a mountain biker, like not like me, like putting around the neighborhood, but like a very extreme guy. And he does crazy jumps. He does crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And he broke almost every bone in his body a few months ago. So, and he's got a little girl, and he's dialed it back. Some of that's because of age, some of that's because of safety. So, but those guys, it's wired into them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Last night, I was up till this morning at a wild punk rock show, and I'm too old to be down in mosh pits, and that's where I was. And my wife's not going to take that from me, but she's also, because she knows that's the guy she married, right? I took her to a show right before we got married. And also, she knows I'm going to be a little more careful, and I'm going to be a little smarter, and that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, you're well within your right to say, hey, this is a wake-up call for me. I need to be honest with you about some things that scare me.
Okay.
And is there a way that you can do four-wheelers, you can do these things, and you'll make a commitment to me to not be nuts? And he knows, everybody knows there's a difference between I can make that jump and hey, I got a little kid. I'm going to sit this jump out.
Yeah. I think, like you said, that's the hard part. It's so wired into him that he's got to go do all the crazy stuff. And like you mentioned, with your friend, I just want to make sure that he's around and gets to a point at some point where he's ready to prioritize having a family over having some fun on a Sunday afternoon on some jumps with his friends.
Okay, but I want you to be careful about that language, okay?
Yeah.
Because if your picture of be ready to have a family means you don't do that kind of stuff anymore, you need to tell him that now.
Yeah.
And if your picture of you need to, when are you going to be ready to quote unquote settle down and have a family means, I still want you out with your buddies. I still want you out riding bikes. This accident you had scared me to death. Are there some things you can do? You'd be willing to sacrifice when it comes to doing all these things?
Yeah.
And it's probably worth you watching the movie Free Solo with Alex and his new girlfriend and fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a good meditation on her understanding this is what I'm signing up for.
Yeah.
And he's got 2 little kids now. And if you heard some interviews recently, he's talked to he climbs up these insane mountains with no ropes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. If you haven't seen it, it's an extraordinary documentary. But also, he has scaled some things back. He's got 2 little girls now.
Yeah.
But he's still out climbing every day, I tell you that. But I want you to be honest about what your real picture, not the words, but the real picture of when is he going to settle down and prioritize us. Because if that means getting off a bicycle, if that means never going vroom vroom, getting away from engines, you all need to have that conversation.
Okay.
Because I think you're going to lose the spirit of the guy you fell in love with.
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen at all either, because I'm a little bit more reserved and shy, and so I absolutely fell in love with him because he's a little bit more on the wild side.
Right. And all of us who are a little bit on the wild side, or a lot on the wild side, our genes don't propagate if we don't have people like you in our lives saying, hey, what if we just went to bed tonight?
Yeah.
Or what if you did those jumps, but not that one?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there's an extraordinary, beautiful balance. And I would, if he called and said, my fiance is telling me to not be so crazy, I would say, yes, she gets to do that. And you get to make a choice. There's a fine line between excitement, there's a fine line between super fun, and there's a line of reckless. And I've crossed that line many times. But as I've got little kids, I chose, by having children, to come back from the reckless edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're well within your right. I would say it's an obligation that you have to put your fears on the table.
Yeah.
And if you are honest with yourself in the dark night of your soul and say, I don't want to. Let me put it this way. My mom, her husband, my dad, was a SWAT hostage negotiator and a homicide detective.
Mm-hmm.
When I was getting out of college, my mom actually said, you can do what you want with your life. I'm going to ask you to not be in this profession. And I said, why? Yeah. And she said, every single day for the last 25 years, I've held my breath until your dad gets home.
Mm-hmm.
And that had never occurred to me. Now, if I'd gone into law enforcement, if I'd gone into FBI, whatever, she would have been my number one supporter. But that was like, man, that's a real thing, right? It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And so I want you just to be honest about it. Can you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. Do you want him to never ride a bike again?
No, I want him to ride a bike again. I just want him to do it. I want him to do it safely.
Awesome. And can I tell you, there's going to be more broken bones? I promise you.
Yeah.
Promise you.
There are.
And I don't know that you'd want that life without it. Or if you dumped him and you went and like married an accountant, not that there's anything wrong with accountants, but like there would be you being like, oh, you just set something on fire in here?
Yeah.
When he's showing you a spreadsheet, right? That's what you'd want that. It's just that fine balance. But the bigger thing here is you putting this all on the table. So proud of you for having the conversation. And I'm going to be real proud of you when wait till the acute wounds have healed, right? Maybe when he's out of some casts and y'all leave the house and y'all go to breakfast and you say, okay, I've got some fears I'm going to put on the table and lay it out there for him.